How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good.
The same as
Yeah.
always. And that's good.
Seem like the very mellow type of dude.
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. A lot of people who've known me for years would not agree with that.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that people have two different personas, like the one they portray on Discord online, and then like actually meeting them in person. They're kind
There are
of
two wolves living inside of you. Your Discord wolf and your real life wolf.
yeah.
I think there's three personas because I think when people are messaging each other on our Facebook chat, that's a whole other persona.
I agree. Like there's like texting and then there's voice chat and then there's like in person.
Yeah. I see that. Like people sound different from how they write and how they actually talk in person.
Yeah, and the memes.
Yeah, memes, right? That's
Well,
a whole
actually,
other channel of communication.
I mostly
Yeah.
use like a voice to text thing, so I technically do sound exactly the same on text as I do in person, to be
Oh,
honest.
nice.
Yeah, that's smart.
No, it's just because my hands hurt.
Oh, true.
Right. You gotta tell us later about what happened.
Oh,
So,
it's a pretty simple story, really. So when I was playing that Japanese video game, it's called Yakuza. It's like a beat 'em up, so there's a lot of button mashing. And I stupidly did like an 8-hour marathon where I was pressing one button for 8 hours,
Oh
and I
my
kind
God.
of
You can get
busted my
tendinitis
thumb.
that easily.
Pardon?
You can get tendinitis that easily just from 8 hours of button mashing.
Well, if it's one button constantly, right? Like if you strain your thumb, it's the tendon gets weak, right? And then it gets sore. And then like it probably would have been fine if I would have just rested for a couple of days, but then everything school is online, right? So I'm constantly
Mm.
typing things up. Not really had I like until like May of this year, I have not had a chance to rest my hands at all.
Right. And that's like a shooting pain up your forearm, right? Up to your elbow or something.
Yes, kind of. When it gets like really inflamed, it does go all the way up the arm.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I'll
oh,
tell you, I work as a biological technician and I use like medical tools, like hand tools. And it's continuously just repetitive motions and continually squeezing these forceps together, kind
Oh
of,
god, that would be
for like
the
at
thought of
least
that
6 hours
hurts
a
me.
day.
oh wow.
Yeah, just like
How
6
do you
hours a
not
day.
have carpal tunnel from that? Like that would give you
I'm
carpal tunnel.
surprised I haven't gotten anything. But I stretch my hands every day, and my hands will get sore, but I think I've worked out a system where they don't get too sore because I always kind of
Yeah.
keep up on it. But
You really gotta like look after yourself for the long term. Like any repetitive motion on the body, just it actually adds up over time. Like never,
Exactly, yeah. Which I
yeah.
didn't realize, and then I realized it, and it sucks a lot.
As soon as you get a little old, you start noticing it. You start complaining
oh,
about your back,
Wow, I've
waking up
had
in the
back problems since
morning.
the first grade, honestly.
Yeah.
oh gosh, you can actually do some workouts. We should talk about that sometime. Some workouts where you can kind of correct that. But is there any way to fix tendinitis?
Yeah.
Basically, just rest. That's it. You just have to rest it, and heat is really good. Like I bought like a heating pad, and I kind of just stick my hands in that all day, and it
Yeah.
increases the blood flow. Because basically, like how tissue heals is it's like little fibers that just like kind of rebuild in your body, like spider webs, kind of. But when your blood flow is like really increased, it makes that happen faster. So that's pretty much it.
Oh, you can
Yeah.
take grapeseed oil
Just a
to
waiting game.
increase that.
Grapeseed oil.
What
Like
kind
a,
of oil?
Grapeseed
Sorry.
oil.
do you apply it
Sorry.
on?
No, no, you ingest grapeseed oil. You
Okay.
can use it as like a cooking oil, or you can take it in kind of pill form, or yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
supposed to increase circulation and actually make your skin more clear.
Actually, yeah, hit me up about that later because that might actually be something I need.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting how I thought you experienced some drastic injury from like work or something, but it was from playing video games too hard. That's pretty funny,
And
man.
school. I always have to
Oh
like
yeah.
be very clear. It's partly school. I'm not just some guy who sits in the basement
Yeah,
playing
you
video
told
games
me
all
about
day.
how you injured your hands gravely to the point you can't even text. I was like, "Oh man, this is serious."
I can
But
text in very small moderation. I just kind of choose not to because it's just not worth it sometimes.
yeah, I mean, of course it but yeah. I mean, it's
I
not to
will
downplay
say,
you though. Yeah.
that's the one thing that kind of made the pandemic a little worse because at least
Yeah,
before, if
definitely.
I did want to get in contact with people, I could just text them. But now it's kind of like I can only
Mm,
communicate with people in moderation or if like
yeah.
one of my few driving friends comes and picks me up because I can't drive right now either.
Oh
But
wow,
that's because I sprained my leg or my foot.
dude, stop hurting yourself.
I'm
Like,
just really clumsy for some reason. I don't know.
but
Like,
okay. Speaking of the pandemic, though, I thought I should mention what we wanted to cover today. I thought we
Yeah.
start with just talking about overall trying to attempt to articulate or summarize our quarantine experience, and then for the next bit, we could also talk about our future plans or like speculations about what we think it's going to be like in our lives after if we do recover, like from the whole thing, like a pandemic within this year, which I see kind of happening with the vaccine going around.
but I
So,
kind of wonder if the world will never completely recover. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, I
yeah,
know there's like a lot of theories that it's going to be more like the flu, where you have to get booster shots every year, and with the variants, that might be a thing.
yeah,
But I feel like
Yeah.
people's attitudes, like, I think about all the things we used to do, like, remember, like, when people have birthday cakes and they blow on the candles, and, like, you think about stuff like that, and it's like, that's
yeah.
gross. Like, they're
We can't do
spitting
that
all over
anymore.
yeah,
You're like,
We'll all
excuse
never
me,
do
could
that.
you not? It's my birthday.
yeah.
I will never eat a cake again that someone has blown candles on. Like, it's little things like that where I
Oh,
think
yeah, your
I don't know,
etiquette gets changing now because of this.
I'm just
That's
hyper aware of germs now. Like, hyper
yeah,
aware.
yeah. Every time I touch a door, I'm thinking about it. Be like, oh man, I gotta get some sanitizer on these babies. Like my
Yeah,
hands.
like public transport and everything. And like
Yeah.
even watching movies from the past where they, I don't know, they'll like sneeze or something, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's so gross. And then they go touch something.
Ugh,
So
It's like the
yeah,
equivalent of like hitting someone now if you sneeze on them. Actually, worse. It's
yeah,
like
you can get charged with assault.
yeah. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, those good points, man. So let's. What's the first question I can offer you? So yeah, how about we can start with what kind of hobbies and activities you kind of picked up during the quarantine just to keep yourself busy. You know,
Hmm.
we would start there.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll start. I picked up some gardening at the beginning last summer, and I continued a little bit this summer because I have a raised bed. So that was really nice to kind of get me outside and doing something. I lost like a lot of my volunteer hobbies, so I had some extra time, which was kind of nice, but and like wasn't really working too much, especially last summer. So yeah, I was just kind of doing the life that I would be doing by myself, but just like outside. So like biking around. I lived downtown Edmonton at the time, so there's a really big river valley. I would always go check out things there, kind of like delve into nature a bit more, I guess.
yeah.
But, I don't know, I tried to get into, like, a more technical side, like, Jesse, I know you're starting to code. I watched a couple courses online just to, try and get into it, and it was so boring, I couldn't even. I was like, "No, this is."
Yep, yep. That's definitely one of the barriers.
Yeah.
Oh, sounds like. Have you had any experience coding, man?
No, I just thought that was a really funny comment.
Yeah. Or should I say Jim? Jimmy? Jim or Jimmy? What do you
Jimbo,
prefer?
James. Actually, I've always liked the name James.
Okay,
James.
James, I will write that down.
Like, if I have a kid, it'll be James for a boy, Jamie for a girl.
Oh, that's cute. What if you have
All right,
twins,
Jimmy.
boy, girl, James, Jamie?
Yeah, that's
I
a
might just be
Jamie.
enough of a psychopath to do that.
Well, how about
Oh,
Jamie? If it's a girl, you can call it Jamie.
I guess Jamie can also be like a boy, so
Oh yeah, I only know girl Jamies.
I've kind of been like thinking though too about like having kids. If I might just keep all the names unisex, so if they like grow up and they're like deciding that they realize they're like non-binary or something, then it's like less effort to change their names or something.
That's
mhm.
very considerate of you.
Yeah.
Trying to be
Yeah.
a progressive
Okay.
parent.
Very only stick with the unisex names.
I like unisex names for sure. Like Charlie for a girl, I just like it.
I agree,
Yeah.
actually. I've never
Charlie.
thought about it, but yeah, I agree.
I feel like meeting a girl named Charlie, she'd be very like charming. 'Cause you know,
And I'm gonna call her
very.
Chuck for short.
Like, I don't know why. Like
Charles.
like easy like
Oh, I like that.
talk about guyish subjects with her for some.
Yeah, like Kill Charlie.
I don't know. Yeah.
Super.
So yeah, how about you? How about you, James? What
I'm
kind of
gonna
hobbies did you pick up there, sir? Or maybe Brittany had some more hobbies. That
I mean, I know
Sorry.
that. Okay, so sorry. I know that James, you said that you're a musician, and I'm
Yeah.
surprised I didn't play my ukulele and my guitar more because I kind of like stopped doing those because I was so busy with school, but I didn't really pick them up again last summer. So,
Uh,
or like since school, but yeah.
yeah, you gotta get like momentum going with that stuff, you know?
I know. And James, I know you have tendonitis now, but before that, were you kind of getting into more music again?
Actually, yeah. So I'm in like a duo band with the co-founder of my label, and what we ended up doing, and we unfortunately just never got around to finishing it. For reasons I'll explain. We tried to write an entire metal album and then just like send the tracks off to different people to do vocals on. And it was just
Yeah.
like a funny album. Like it was like jokes and stuff, and it was just gonna be like a pandemic project. But
Mm.
we got like, I don't know, a couple songs out, but we still have not. And then we started this, I think, last summer. We still haven't finished the album because we kind of didn't realize how many people wouldn't be able to do anything on it because they're all stuck at home with other people, and it just wouldn't be feasible for them to be
Oh, really?
drinking in their basements with their parents home or something, or their roommates or partners or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Dang, that's so weird. Yeah, I guess that's a factor that can affect that workflow process. Everyone's
Yeah, and like I'd still like to finish it, but the secondary problem of it is like some of the songs are like quarantine themed. Like it's like I said, it's meant to be more of like a joke thing. So I feel like if we
Mhm.
release it like next year, it'll be a little dated.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, but I feel like a lot of people are releasing singles now. Is that a thing?
Well, we did release a lot of like, I guess, 2-track EPs. Like we'd release a song and then like a cover of something under it. So I
yeah.
was gonna actually message my guy about that, just like releasing as many songs as we can one by one. Mostly because I like doing like album art. So it'd be more fun
Mhm.
if I could do like individual album covers for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
and I
help you with that.
yeah.
And then, like I said, yeah, I was working on a collab with this guy from Argentina that I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, right.
So I've pretty much finished. Luckily, I finished all my parts before I got tendonitis. So I'm just waiting for them to finish their parts,
Mm,
whenever that'll be.
excited to hear, man. Keep us
S-
posted.
So am I
Yeah,
actually. But
yeah.
yeah,
And what instrument do you play?
um, I consider myself a jack of all trades, master of none. Like I can play a little bit of multiple instruments. Like I can play guitar, bass, some drums, a little bit of like keyboard stuff. Not enough that I'm like great at anything, but enough that it serves the purpose that I need them to. Like I can do the bare minimum that I need for tracks.
Okay.
But I mostly program. Like I program synths and drum machines and stuff like that. That's more where my talents lie, I guess.
Wow, I'm like so impressed by anybody who can do like even one of those, but then all of them together, and you can make a whole kind of concept with it, which is really cool, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a cool hobby for sure.
We can like basically just write your own albums completely without anybody else by teaching you all your own instruments, and then also like I also can do all my own recording stuff too. The only thing I don't do is mastering. Mostly because they just recommend that
Right.
you get somebody else to master your albums
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
requires like a fresh ear hearing it and then being able to consistently set it to certain volumes, etc.
yeah.
But everything else I do on my own. So it costs me no money at all.
Oh, I gotta get back into that stuff. I got Fruity Loops in Ableton, like an old version of Ableton, that is. But
I use Reaper. It's sort of free. Basically, like you don't ever have to pay for it, but it'll keep bugging you to pay for it. But it's the kind
like
of
WinRAR.
program where, yeah, basically like WinRAR. But I ended up just buying it because it was so good. I felt bad not paying for it. So
Oh, that's good.
it's a
Yeah,
little
you just
complicated to use, though. I wouldn't recommend it for beginners.
yeah. As long as like you get fluent with one like moderately like a decent software that can get the job done, you should be fine. Like I start with a lot of free software
Are
and
you an
got
Audacity guy?
yeah,
Same here. Yeah, starting out with it.
I mean not so much with like music wise. Like I'm still using GIMP, which is like the open source version of Photoshop. And
I
before that
use
I was
Paint.net for that kind of stuff.
yeah. So just get proficient, man. And you're good to go.
See, I agree with that. I don't think there's any like one program that's better than another. I think it's just whatever works for your specific project and
Yeah.
whatever you find that your brain can figure out faster.
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like you guys managed to keep yourselves busy without going insane during the whole
Oh
pandemic.
yeah. I mean, kind of. Like, I feel like a lot of introvert hobbyists were thriving this year,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
me trying to live my extrovert life that I love was not thriving so much.
Yeah, you
Well, I'm
sound
kind of
like
like
you're a very active type of person, Brittany. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I love like volunteering for me is definitely one of the things I love to do, and all those projects were kind of cut off, and
yeah.
that's a big hobby, I guess, in a way. So, I mean, I did some kayak, like I got a little blow up kayak, and I started doing that, and I don't know, and then podcasting now, which is really fun, and I've always wanted to kind of do it. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, if you have any questions, by the way, I'm always down to help. I can help you get things set up and learning some software. Like
Okay.
like I'm using Mixpad, which is not the greatest audio editor out there, but it certainly gets the job done. And just I like the workflow process with that. So, anyways, relating to that, I just wanted to ask you guys, like overall, like especially relating to what Brittany was describing, like how has being constantly alone for so long affected your mind overall? Like, so you consider yourself somewhat of an extrovert, Brittany, but how about you, Jesse or James? I mean,
um I'm kind of like in the middle. It just depends how I'm feeling at the time. I mean, I can adapt to either. And like I said before, like the tendonitis hit, I was like really enjoying just like basically getting paid to just stay home and just work on all these projects that I've been wanting to work on for so long. Like it was like a paid vacation and it was awesome for a while there.
yeah,
And I had like small bubbles or whatever, like what do you call them, cohorts or whatever. So I was still seeing some people. It wasn't like I was completely alone. Like I made a couple friends actually from school, and we were hanging out on the weekends together and whatnot.
yeah,
So I got my fix of people, and then I spent the rest of the week kind of doing my own thing, and it was actually
yeah,
kind of nice.
Right, yeah. I mean, same with me, I guess, to some extent. I wasn't completely alone. I had my cohorts, and I was bartending when restaurants were open.
yeah,
So that really helped me just because, like, I was at least safe behind the bar and just quite a distance away from people. So I felt relatively safe in that. And then I got to meet kind of new people as well. So it fed my that side of me anyways a bit. But it definitely did get lonely. I mean, I'm sure both of you felt that way too.
yeah, definitely.
Honestly, the
Yeah.
loneliness hasn't really hit until maybe the last month, just because I've been
Oh,
Oh,
not really going anywhere at all because of my various injuries. Now that I'm kind of just sitting in my room all day, it's getting a little sad.
mm,
yeah. And honestly, even like for any injury, I feel like it's sometimes like that. But then now it's exacerbated. Yeah, is that the word? It's
okay.
exacerbated more just because, we don't have as many ways of connecting or as familiar ways of connecting maybe with people.
I feel like I'm one of the only people that's maybe excited for school to be back in person. I kind of miss like
Yeah,
talking to
I don't know.
people new.
Yeah, yeah, I see that. Because I do enjoy I kind of love and hate the whole online course delivery, and I've just gotten so used to it now, almost like spoiled by it.
Well, it's
Just
like convenient, right? Because you don't have
yeah,
to go anywhere in your schedule. Like, it's not like you have to run across the school for a class in 10 minutes or you have to sit at school for 4 hours because your classes are far apart. Now you can just sit at home and do it.
yeah.
Yeah, but I
I mean,
think like a lot of your university memories from university are kind of dashed because of that too. Because I don't know, I have really funny memories of
yeah,
just having
definitely.
to get to class or
Yeah,
whatever. So
I agree with that. And I think we talked about this. We were in a class together, the philosophy of film or whatever. And
oh
I gotta
yeah,
say,
yeah.
I was disappointed that that class didn't finish in person, especially because there was a couple movies near the end I was really excited to talk about.
Oh my
So
god, we were in the same
uh,
class, I think.
yeah, I
Were you in
think
the
so.
same?
Because yeah, you sent me the RoboCop paper or whatever, so I think that we were in that class together. But I don't know what you look like, so I have no idea who you
I
were.
don't know what you look like either, Jesse. Do you know
Yes, sorry,
Amelia
Amelia.
Altmix?
Sorry, repeat.
Amelia Altmix, she was in that class with us.
That name does ring a bell, but I'd have to see a picture. I'm bad with names, but good with faces.
All right, I'm creeping you on social media after this.
Good luck, because I don't really, unless you can find my Instagram, I don't have a lot of pictures of myself on Facebook. I'm not much of a selfie guy unless I'm being like kind of
Yeah,
ironic
same.
about it.
Just put one in the private chat. It's okay.
But
So you guys like film, right? Right. That's
oh God,
awesome.
I
I
love
gotta bring
film.
you guys on to talk with Davis about it again.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I was in the class and I really like the dissection of movies. Like so Wisecrack on YouTube, or there's a couple other ones like some film uh, like I guess dissection things. But I don't really watch a lot of movies myself. I actually would rather watch the review of a movie rather than watch it myself.
Yeah, yeah. That's another way of we developed to the point where video essays provide this different angle of consuming this kind of content. Yeah, I definitely do sometimes prefer like if a film's horrible, I'm always going to try to find a video essay on YouTube before actually watching it myself.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
though,
absolutely.
I don't know if I could. I'd have to watch the movie first because, like, I like to develop my own opinion about something before I
Oh,
hear any
yeah,
other
yeah.
ones. Because if I were to
Good
watch
for
the
you.
essay first, I feel like my view of the movie would be tainted, and it
Yeah.
would change my
Oh, that's
experience
a
of
good
watching
point.
it.
Yeah, I don't know why I've always and like actually if the movie if a movie is good enough, I have to try to find more opinions about it. And just because I'm trying to find other people who are just as moved as I am.
I agree with
Find
that.
like agreeing with some of the points I would have, but
There's a site.
Too. Like sometimes as soon as I finish a movie, I'm just like, wow,
yeah,
how did I feel about that? And then like, okay, let me just like quickly search. What do other people think too? Do they agree with me
yeah,
on this point?
it's the
And
closure thing, right? Like you need
yeah,
closure on like
yeah.
There's
your
a site.
emotional investments.
There's a site you guys might get something out of for that. It's called like Letterboxd, and it's
Oh,
like
I think I heard of them.
it's like a
Yeah.
social media for people who watch movies. So you watch a movie and then you can log it. You rate it at a 5 stars. You write a little review and stuff like that. And then people
Oh,
will
yeah, I
find your
haven't heard that.
reviews and they can comment on them and stuff. So
Hmm.
if you guys like to look at other people's opinions and discuss them, I think that you would get a lot out of it.
Oh yeah.
So would you say overall that and maybe Brittany would be leaning more towards the negative, but for you, James, like it's overall the quarantine's been mostly positive for you. Like it's been beneficial to your life.
Yeah, I don't know. Other like I said, other than my injuries, I can't really complain too much. Like I've been watching a lot of movies now because that's all I can do, and even that's
Okay.
been kind of I don't want to say beneficial, but fulfilling. I've watched so many great
Nice.
classic movies I've never had the time or the chance to watch. So
Yeah.
for that reason, I'm like, could be worse. At least I'm not blind.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna miss like how this gave us this rare opportunity in our lives to actually catch up on some personal interests and just to explore things that we never would have really explored before. Like I know for myself, it really was a benefit in that sense because I was just forced to actually focus on learning new things because I was just so bored out of my mind. Yeah, like the whole 3D stuff, whatever.
Oh, the 3D stuff. Did you just do that on your own time? That's not a class that you're taking?
Oh no, no, I was the tutorials have really the quality of tutorials have really improved. Plus the interface is like become more user friendly. So it's just nowadays it's easier to pick it up too. So there's definitely that factor that helped. So and it would be I don't know, in my opinion, it would be quite a waste of money to even just go on like Udemy to pay for some courses because the amount of content you get online for free now is just you're better off with that. But
You go on
Yeah, I
you
guess
go on
it depends
YouTube,
how
you
you
Google
learn.
it.
yeah, yeah, that too. Sorry, what's that, James?
I was saying, when you go on YouTube, you go on Google, whatever, you go to Wikipedia, you can learn so much for free as long as you just like
Yeah, yeah,
figure out where to look for it.
yeah. So
Yeah, I think you can almost learn anything online. Kind of going back to hobbies, like
yeah,
I learned when I was younger kind of how to play guitar and ukulele online, or just they have a lot of things that are free, but I do like for like if I'm doing something like learning health or medical or psych or
oh,
anything like that, I liked going to school and paying for it, to be honest. And
yeah, I would actually prefer that any trained specialist got a formal education on that.
I agree, it's more
So it-
official, right?
oh,
I'm just
I learned this off YouTube.
don't worry, guys. I can do this surgery. Brain surgeon, I got it. Don't worry. Just hand me that
Tutorial
dirty
ad.
scalpel.
Yeah.
Hand me
Let
the
me have
drill
that. Yeah, the
and the
drill.
fork.
The fork. This fork will double as a tool. I know it.
Could you
No, the
imagine
fork's
a
for my
day your
lunch.
surgeon's like following a YouTube tutorial while performing surgery? Like this?
Uh,
Oh, oh man.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah.
That'd be a good comedy. That's a little script idea. I'm gonna write that down sometime.
I mean, I have tried to fix my car myself watching YouTube videos, and I didn't do too bad on a lot of it,
Yeah.
but sometimes you have to leave to the professionals. I was actually so my AC in my car right now is done, so I have to go
Same.
take it in, I guess. And somebody's like, "Oh no, it's a really easy fix." And then I go into like Canadian Tire, whatever, to get it, and they're like, "Don't do it yourself. If you do it wrong, you're gonna wreck the whole system." And I'm like, "I'm too scared to do it myself now. I got to take it in." So.
Yeah, especially for modern cars where there's like countless computer parts and like all this hardware issues you gotta worry about the wiring and just yeah.
I'm not messing around with that.
But there are like more simpler components like surface stuff, like you just switching out a filter. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tire, oil change, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, online resources, they're great.
Mhm.
Yeah, anything like a computer or a car, I wouldn't touch on my own. Forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did
Or a
you
But I
brain.
oh sorry, what's that?
Or a brain.
yeah.
So I don't know, like perhaps we could start moving on unless you guys had more to add.
I kind of wanted to just backpack quickly on the gardening thing because I got really into orchids last year.
Okay.
Oh, they're
Like,
so cool.
my ex-partner I was dating at the time was really into them, so I was like, I'll try this out, and then I just got obsessed. And like, it's gardening is good. Flowers are great. All of that stuff is just the act of just like having a routine with it, number one, and taking care of it is just like it helps keep you sane in a way. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I've read many papers about like old folks or doing gardening projects and working with their hands. It helps their brain connections and capacity and keeps them happier, keeps them less depressed as well. So it is a good it's a good thing to have kind of little gardens in like old folks' homes or community gardens are a good way as well to kind of keep the. I mean, it keeps like a morale up, I guess.
It just gives you something to look forward to. Like, I mean, I have like a specific watering day because orchids. I won't go too far into that, but they have like a specific way you water them, and I mean, I look forward to that every week. And it's small, but it's like, oh yeah, I'm into it.
I used to actually do the landscaping or the greenskeeping, I guess, at U of A every summer. And I would like have
Right.
dreams at night about me like picking weeds or like trimming like trimming stuff or whatever. And honestly, it put me right to sleep. It was so relaxing.
That is awesome.
That'd be such a perfect job. Like, anything where you don't really have to interact with people, or you could just basically like put some headphones in and listen to music all day is like a dream job.
Yeah, and like we had like a partner to work with, and actually we got to ride around on golf carts throughout the university, and it was so much fun.
That is the cherry.
Did you ever ram them into each other? Like,
Oh my god,
cards.
we no, we would get in so much trouble. People did break the windows at some points by accident, and then we used to race them. There's like a track on U of A grounds by the composting,
Yeah.
and we used to drive and like we'd have two beside each other, and we'd race it around that track. They went like the same speed, but there was sometimes one that would just be like a little bit faster and edge the other ones out. It was
The
a
more
good
you
time.
talk about it, this sounds like the perfect job.
It was a good summer job, especially for students, to be honest.
This is like the kind of job you can just like let life just slowly or just quickly pass by, just doing this all the time, you know?
Yeah, it's
Become
kind of
very
nonchalant.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
just let
Well, it's
life
only our summer all the time here.
yeah. Maybe in some sense, like we're just meant to actually be working on a farm, most of us. That's kind of like the
Yeah.
source of our anxieties because our
Just
bodies are rejecting the artificial. We're supposed to be closer to the earth.
the good old days of just shucking peas with grandma on the porch
Yeah. And then just dying of natural causes.
at
On an
Yeah.
untimely death.
58.
Or disease or whatever else would get us.
No
I don't know where
hospitals,
I'm going
no
with that, but
vaccines. We all die at 40. Perfect.
I
But
have
I
noticed
do
that.
hear what you're
Oh,
saying.
Well, like,
yeah.
I don't know. I got really tired. Like, I know everyone's like retail. You know, nobody really likes
Mm,
retail
yeah.
because customers are the way they are. But I found like during the pandemic that people basically I found the pandemic brought out truly who people were in the best and worst ways. Like
Ah,
people who were really kind were more kind during it because their natural, like, I don't know what you want to call it, programming to care for others kind of kicked in. But then like,
yeah.
you know, the selfish people who were buying like 20 things of toilet paper,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
so I found like working in retail during the pandemic. I haven't been working obviously for a while just because of my injuries, but I found it was like so much worse during the pandemic because people were so grumpy about following mask rules and like what do you call it?
Yeah.
What do you call that word? What's the word with how many people you can have in a store?
Like
Occupation
capacity.
capacity. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
people get really stinky about that.
Yeah, I think everyone was just like on edge and really stressed out and have these underlying things that just boil to the surface over just the smallest things. I'm sure we all saw like the Karen videos or you know, like those are classic
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And I think that's just honestly everyone just had like some anxieties deep within them or like stress or whatever that they weren't really handling or able to handle. So it just came out unfortunately against people in like retail and service industry and so on. So
Yeah, you're right about that. Like, just really brought out certain like characteristics and really like changed the way I definitely changed quite a bit. Like, I think I would find myself to be a bit of a different person if I were to chat with Jesse from like like right before the pandemic. It's just because like I really this whole experience really nurtured my introspective side and like just my introverted side. So I just like I've noticed it takes me much more energy to actually talk to people in person. It just
yeah, even for me, I actually feel that way too. Because sometimes, like, I could go all day talking to people and, like, it would give me energy almost. And
yeah.
now, it's like, I almost want to retreat back home sometimes
Oh
before,
yeah, like same. Yeah.
yeah, before the end of a get together. I'm just like, okay, I'm ready to go now. I'm tired, you know? Whereas
Well, it
before,
depends
I never
on
used to be like that. But maybe,
yes.
I don't, I was thinking about that and maybe I'll go back to normal myself after this. Who knows?
It takes some time to adjust, but yeah, like my social batteries become a lot more noticeable for myself, like you. It's just harder to constantly chat with people and be around them.
I find it
Like,
depends on the people that I'm around. Like I found that I very much learned who my, like, close friends were. Like,
oh,
some people
yeah,
I
yeah,
kinda lost contact with, and then others I got even closer with, and, like, those specific people I could spend all day with no problem. And I realized, like, it's more about having really good friends than having a ton of them.
very
I mean, that's
true.
an adult thing, I don't know. I feel like that's also partly, like, a thing adults learn when they get older is, like, you don't talk to most of the people you went to high school with, right? Even though
Oh,
in high
yeah,
school, you
yeah,
think those are your friends forever.
yeah. I barely talk to any of my high school friends now. It's like really a part of growing up where you shed off all the your so-called friends you had from before, and you realize like you're only just friends because it's just you're meeting up the same location all the time. They were
Well,
just
exactly, it's
passing by
proximity, right?
acquaintances. Yeah. I mean, I mean them well. I hope they're doing
Oh,
great and
definitely,
stuff,
yeah.
but
Like,
it's
nothing
just
against them as people or anything, like, you know, they're not bad people or anything, it's just obviously we grew apart, we have new interests, different, like, life goals and stuff, and, you know, the
yeah.
experiences we had were still great, but
And it
obviously, you know, we're doing different things now, we're different people.
yeah. And like you just learn more about yourself and you get more comfortable with being who you are. Well, this conversation taking a different turn here, but
It's getting deep.
yeah, bro. It's getting real
Yeah.
introspective.
Introspective.
I
Yeah.
definitely think that this last year, I have learned the person that I am, number 1, more than any other year. And
Yeah.
secondly,
Yeah.
been, like, more okay with, like, you know how they always say, like, "You need to love yourself before you can love anybody?" And I always thought that was kind of, like, a rude thing to say to people, but
What?
I half agree with it now because, like, I am so much more comfortable with myself as a person now that I've spent so much time alone to just do my own thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I watch RuPaul, so if, you know, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? That whole thing. I'm whole on board with that. I think,
Oh,
like, even before right before the pandemic too, I was kind of just, like, doing my own thing and really trying to work on some projects and stuff. So I was kind of being like, okay, I'm gonna be more selective with who I hang out with. And I knew I had friends that were like my party friends. Okay, and these are my my friends I can probably do almost anything with, or the people I do outdoor stuff with, or climbing friends or school friends, whatever. So I kind of had like categories for my friends. And like obviously my party friends were the ones that felt like had to kind of fall away during all of like this quarantining and everything. But I mean, I still like message them on Snapchat or keep up with them, just like little quick things or whatever. I'm not much of a texter, so there's that. But
Big same, yeah.
yeah, and so I mean, I kind of had those categories, and I was kind of like becoming a little bit more introspective even before the pandemic. But then when the pandemic came, I was like forced to be, and then that made me not happy. Like it definitely brought me down a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of
Because
helped.
sometimes there's
I
certain
don't know.
parts of you that you just I think I've kind of it was a bit different. Like I got more comfortable being honest with myself and
Oh
just
yeah, definitely. Same.
because I'm nowhere near perfect, but it's just having that amount of time to be introspective has made me more like aware of my own shortcomings and just giving myself some honest, tough love. Like I don't know, I don't feel like I have to constantly be my own friend or like love myself too much, you know, because I'm a very I can get pretty lazy and put things off, you know. Like I,
It's about being aware of like your I don't want to say weaknesses, but like your negative traits, and then like kind of learning like how to adapt to them. Because I mean, nobody is perfect. Everyone has like one or two things about them that is probably never going to change, but that's what makes everybody different, right? Like I can look at any of my closest friends and be like, here are the things I love about you. Here are the things about you that probably aren't great, but I would never like be hard on you about those things.
yeah,
Yeah, you kind of have to like love them for their flaws. And actually, I think that's what makes like relationships with people interesting. I'm like I have a friend
yeah,
who we disagree heavily on politics and just like certain ways of life or whatever, certain like things that are really important to me. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, no, I love you as a person. I don't care really what your beliefs are. We have so much fun together, and we sometimes get into it with each other. But honestly, I actually appreciate that so much, that I can have somebody so close to me that is so different from me.
yeah. That's good on you. Like a lot of us become so polarized and like to the point where we're jumping to antagonizing and hating each other nowadays. But
Yeah.
that's a very mature response, Brittany.
Oh, thank you.
Keep it up, man. You're great. Yeah.
Will do, bro. Okay. I'm
Aw,
sure.
yeah. But
Or actually, even talking to you guys, like you guys are super computer sciencey, almost like you know a lot of programming and software kind of stuff, and
Why are you
I don't
calling
know
us
anything.
nerds?
No, I'm not. I okay, well, if nerds, if that's what I'm calling you, I love nerds. So, like my favorite uncle, he's a huge nerd, and I love him so much. Like he loves his comic books and like superhero movies and like computer stuff, and I just love him. He's like one of the most interesting people to me, honestly. So, it's like a whole thing that I don't know or understand. Like I'm not in that world, but I love listening to it, and I love like getting to know about it through people like you guys.
I'm actually
Hmm.
trying to learn to like code games on Unity now, which is why I'm trying to learn C sharp. I got all these ideas I want to incorporate. Like a while back, I actually tried to recreate the McEwen campus on Blender, but I got a call from an investigation from one of
Yeah, I
the.
remember seeing that.
Oh
Like,
my god.
why? Do they think you were gonna like be a terrorist or something? Like,
The call
what?
wasn't actually that bad. The guy was pretty chill, and he was just. I think it's just their following routine. You know, they have to check on things. Because also it was kind of my fault. I was like asking around for like the layout maps and stuff.
Mm,
I can see how that would look really sketchy.
And
yeah.
there's a few people kept commenting jokes about like shooting or making it like a counter strike map. And this one
Ugh.
dude, he deleted his comment. He joked about I think shooting the professors or something.
Oh god. Yeah, I can
So
see how
Oh,
that's a problem.
yeah,
yikes.
so I'd probably instigate an investigation. But
Is that even a joke by that, like at that point?
that
Like
wasn't anything
joking
of a
about
joke.
it? Is
You shouldn't be saying
like
something like that. It's just
yeah, it's a little
it's just
racy of a joke.
Especially in
or
like today's culture
maybe the
of
guy was drunk. I don't know, but or sorry, what's that?
well, in today's culture of like it's not as big of a problem in Canada, but like the US has like a shooting like every day pretty much, and a lot of them are in
Yeah,
schools. So I mean in
you
in
gotta take it seriously.
2020, 2021, I just feel like it's probably not even like it's just too risky to say something like that because I feel like they have to take those jokes, and I'm saying that with air quotes, seriously, because you never know now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, could you imagine they were joking about it? Again, quotes.
Yeah.
And then it happened and they didn't look into it. That would just be so bad and look so bad. So
Yeah, people would probably get in
Blame for
big
that.
doo-doo for that.
Yeah. So yeah, I was thinking of creating like I need like some sort of outlet to apply the things I'm learning. So I want to try to make like this basic RPG where you kind of roam me around the school campus and like there's little homework monsters you attack.
hmm.
I don't know. But
I gotta say, I
But
like
just
their
make a
anime.
library or something because the library has so many nooks and crannies.
yeah, actually I've really gotten into writing out the ideas. I want to like create 100 floors. You have to like climb the floors and the monsters get harder.
Oh, wow.
It's really
Okay,
lame.
okay.
I
This is
don't-
like a dungeon kind of game. Like,
yeah, yeah.
It reminds me
okay,
of a
cool.
game I played as a kid. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It was called, I think it was called the Jure Dreams, and you climb like a tower, and it's basically like that. Like you go up every floor is like it gets harder, and I don't remember if I ever beat it. It was so many years ago. I mean, it was Game Boy Color that many years ago, but
Oh, it was a
that
Game
reminds me
Boy
a lot
Color
about
game.
that.
I thought you were talking about like a PS2 game that had like kind of that tower climbing function or like dungeons with
No,
monsters.
it was some. I don't think anyone's ever heard of this game. Like if I bring it up, I feel like no one would ever know, or maybe it's like one person will be listening to this podcast one day and be like, "Whoa, someone else knows that game."
I would love to look it up, but er, yeah, let me know sometime, bruh. So how about we kind of move on to now talking about some future speculations and like what our thoughts are for like the coming future in our lives. Like, do you think overall things are gonna get better? Do you think things are just how different do you think things are gonna be after everything we've gone
Oh,
through? At
my
least
computer
slowly.
froze. What did I miss?
Oh, I was just wondering what your speculations for the future is gonna be. Do you think things are gonna get better? How different do you think things are gonna be as we kind of reopen up everything, get our businesses up and going?
I it's tough because I want to believe, and in my head, because of just how I know I'm going to be, I want to be like people will be cautious. But I feel like we've already seen a lot of evidence to say that people are going to jump into the shallow end of the pool head first on this, like with the Stampede opening up in a couple weeks already, and all that kind of stuff. Like people are just ready to go. They're ready to give
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, it's true.
And you've seen how America handled it. I mean, they basically just pretended the virus was done and end of story.
They got rid of face masks and stuff. Just
Yeah, which
Sorta.
was kind of weird. But I mean, their cases are still going down and it looks like everything is going to be okay. So I'm pretty hopeful that this was kind of the last
okay.
wave for us in Alberta.
That's good.
Well, with the
And
vaccines, yeah, I think it will be.
yeah, like I don't think we're going to go into another lockdown for this, like for COVID-19. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Um,
Yeah.
but I think people do have kind of a short memory, which I'm actually looking forward to. Like I'm actually happy about that because I want to forget about all this. Like I don't want to be
Yeah.
scarred or like have it linger with me beyond this. I'm just kind of ready to be like, I want to go back to living my life, whatever that is. But I also know I will be changed in some ways. I just have no idea really what that will look like. Like I think I have become a bit more of an introvert, and I don't know if that's gonna stick around. I think it's a good thing though. Like it's good to
Yeah.
kind of take time and be with yourself and have time to do your own like I was
Yeah.
doing my own projects, but I did them more collaboratively, and I don't think that's a bad thing either, but I don't know. I'll figure it out.
I
Well, like the
definitely
weird
grew like a
thing
shell that I had to grow out of. Or sorry, what's that, James?
Well, like the weird thing is like this has been the normal for almost 2 years now, and I'm just like I've
Yeah.
gotten so used to this and like wearing masks and all that stuff that
Mhm.
like now I'm gonna have to readjust to things being back to normal. Like I literally have gotten to the point where if this was how it was forever, my brain is just like, okay.
No
Yeah.
way.
My
I couldn't.
brain, my mind hole is too used to being a loner.
Like I don't know, I guess I accept things a little too I guess not too easily, but I just find that like once something is the way it is for so long, with my tendonitis, like I've just been sitting here like, well, if this is my life now, whatever, I guess.
Yeah. I really hope like things will just transition that smoothly as you hope, Brittany, but I tend to be a pessimist when it comes to these things because people are dumb. Who knows? Some
What do
news.
you think is gonna happen?
So like everyone just immediately ignores like proper social distancing. Like anyone who Like I don't know, like maybe there could be a couple new waves coming back, you know, and the vaccines are not necessarily permanently effective. Like
Right.
That's my biggest worry, is that if the
I could get pretty pessimistic about this.
variants get too strong, that the vaccines
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
useless, and then we'll go back into like there's some movie that came out during the pandemic. I don't know if you heard about it. It's called like Songbird or something, and it's about this COVID-23. So it's like the year 2023 where COVID comes back and it's worse, and it's like about the world adjusting to it. And like nobody saw it, nobody wanted to see it, because I mean, why does anybody want to see a movie
Especially
about
now.
something like that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, people want
Yeah.
escapism right now. We're already sitting indoors in a pandemic. Why do we want to watch a movie about sitting
Exactly.
indoors in a pandemic?
Like I don't want to see actors wearing face masks. I just want like a see this fantasy world where everything's normal again.
And
I
see, if
just
you
want
notice that a lot of TV shows, and this has really kind of bugged me. I know it's kind of like a not like an important thing, it's like a first world problem. But I've noticed like
yeah.
all these TV shows have COVID in them. Like people like Shameless and all these hospital shows and stuff like that. And everyone has COVID. Like the COVID exists in that universe, and people wearing masks and stuff like that. And I'm like, number one, these episodes are going to be so dated in a year. And number two, like we're already living this reality. I don't know if they're trying to make it more relatable or whatever, but I kind of don't want it to be constantly reminded about everything that's already happening
Yeah.
while I'm trying to watch and escape from it in a show.
I
Exactly.
think like the reasoning behind that I heard and read about was that there was this massive pandemic that affected everybody on the planet going on. And these shows didn't want to just kind of like go like not address it and just kind of skip over it and be like, oh, la di
Yeah.
da, everything's normal. I think they wanted to, and it kind of gave, well, they saw it as it giving their season, a little bit more relatability at the time, because like when people are mostly watching it, they were watching it when it was new and just coming out.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it like I guess
Continuity.
they thought it would be weird if they didn't address it and
And I am
Continue.
kind of in the middle. Like I do agree with you, and I get what you're trying
Yeah.
to say. So I'm kind of like I'm in the middle of like, should they just ignore it or should they address it, because it's this big thing that everyone's dealing with. But then, like I said,
yeah.
at the same time, I'm kind of just like, you know what? I already see this when I go outside the few times that I do. Maybe
Yeah.
it would be cool to not think about it for 40 minutes to an hour.
I agree. I had to stop watching the news, honestly, because every single day it was
Yeah.
the same thing, or like I was like, "Oh, I can't keep watching this." So I haven't really watched the news or followed a lot of politics this last year. That's like a hobby that I lost more so again. I've taken on more hobbies that were like, yeah, distance myself from COVID and try to get away from it. Even listening to like doing this podcast today, I was like, okay, well, if we're gonna talk about COVID, like I was so over listening to things like that. That's why I was hesitant.
It always sounds like the world's falling apart every time I tune in. And you can
Yeah,
only listen to that for so long before you just like I think that's enough. Like I can't
tune
even
out.
do anything to change things really, but it's
It gets
completely
a
out of
little
my
repetitive for sure when there's no good news. Like at least when there's like
Yeah.
reports of like things changing, that's cool. But when like every day was the same thing, like we still haven't beat it. We still haven't beaten it. It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. It's like, okay, do you need to tell us that every day? Like come back
Yeah.
when you have something new to talk about. It does get a little, it's like being piled on, doggy pile.
I was getting pretty sick of it too. It's just getting more sadder than I need to be. And I had to unplug for the news because it was just it just sounded like the world's on fire, you know? Australia was literally on fire at one point, but
It's right
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
Like the beginning of last year, right? Things just feel so much longer ago.
Yeah, it's already been a year. Man. Like time actually passed by a lot faster than I expected just because it's so repetitive. Every day I'm just doing the same thing. Try to work on some projects or just I don't know. Life's simpler on the routine. How do you feel like your original plans were affected by what happened? Like what were your original plans before this all kind of got down?
Oh man, that's like a hard one for me because I was at McEwen and we were all at McEwen, were we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I mean, all of our semesters kind of ended like abruptly. Things were going online. One of my favorite labs was kind of ended, but I was a part of the Student Leadership Council, and I was a project manager, so I led a team of volunteers. And I had this big project signed up or like ready to go. Basically, it was set to be up and running by September 2020. So by the next the next semester, fall semester. And it was for mug sharing across campus. So it was going to be basically a way for students to use and reuse mugs on campus instead of taking the single-use mugs and then throwing them away.
Yeah.
And it would basically be like free for students, but it would just become like a cultural thing. And like, so because one of our biggest waste on campus is are these single-use mugs get wasted all the
I
time.
remember seeing a bit of that.
Yeah, and so I mean, it was like we actually got we talked to Aramark, the president of residence, and then some higher up at MacEwan, and they all agreed to like let us do it, and they were going to invest $10,000 into like the mugs and everything, and kind of like that was the budget for some of the residential swag, I guess. So they were going to invest that money into it. And then SAMU, like in that building, we were going to have a cup station and stuff like that. So it was all kind of set up to go. And I had been working out with my team for the last like 8 months or something, or yeah, 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it all just kind of came down. Like we were just about to get a grant for it. And again, we had the other funds promised to us as well. And so we had everything set up. I had the timeline all set up. And yeah, it was just really sad because that stopped. And then I also was doing this group that a friend and I started called ISO Empowerment. And it was bringing these girls from Boyle Street Education Center, which is kind of like a rough, like more troubled group of kids that are just kind of like upgrading or trying to finish high school, I guess. And
Kaylee, by chance? I think she
Kaylee.
was involved with Boyle Street.
I think Kaylee. And like climbing for rock climbing?
No, actually, never mind. But I know
Oh.
she does. She's quite involved with that. But anyway, sorry.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. And so they like basically have their high school kind of across from MacEwan, but we also partnered up with Rock Jungle, which is like a rock climbing boulders place behind MacEwan. And because I used to climb a lot as well. And we partnered up with them and had this group of girls basically using a grant to go climbing, bring them into this space and getting like girls and empowerment and just, and we had really positive feedback. They were coming like every week, if there was a snow day, they were making it. And yeah, it just was really rewarding and like the girls were loving it and I was seeing so much progress with them and that like ended abruptly as well. So both of those like big projects for me and then plus school just kind of ended and not the way I wanted it to. So it was a very sad time.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was so weird. I remember when it was all happening. It actually felt like the world was ending, and I just
It did feel like an apocalypse, didn't it? Like,
yeah, like the way all the world events were going. Like I was like almost trying to mentally prepare to die soon somehow. That was kinda like my low point.
well, my first I was like I mentioned earlier, like I was kind of optimistic when it started, and then as like things went on, I
Yeah.
lost that optimism because basically, like I remember seeing the stories about like I don't know if it was like the canal or something in Venice because no one was using it and it was like cleaner and little things like that, like nature is coming back and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I was thinking to myself, like, hey, we have this like weird opportunity where like everyone is just like paused, where we could like evaluate the
Oh,
whole
yeah,
world
yeah.
and
Yeah,
how
like
everything is being run, and we actually could like maybe like fix a few things because the gears have stopped.
yeah.
And then we did absolutely nothing, and my heart was just broken.
It was so strange doing it like that transition, like how the world, like my life was literally going into like a gradual, complete pause. Like I was
Mhm.
just home all day and just, I don't know.
It's
I
just
was
like, how
getting
did we
Yeah.
not take that opportunity? Like, what's wrong with the world? You know, that we didn't take, like, it's the only opportunity we're probably ever gonna get to really, like, possibly reset things a bit. And I know there's like
Mhm.
some weird like conspiracy called the Great Reset. I'm definitely not talking about that because I'm not a tinfoil hat.
What? I
Just
gotta look that up.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
you have to
I'll
look
give you
for
like a
that.
quick rundown of what I know about it. It's some anti-vax conspiracy that the liberal governments of the world are trying to keep everyone indoors so they can reset the world in their liberal agendas, yada yada yada. You know, crap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
Okay.
there's so many theories out there. Just so many conspiracy
And they're all
theories.
bad and total garbage. And like another thing too, while we're on the topic of like anti-vaxxers, is I remember like how when this all started, everyone was being so cautious, taking all of this so seriously, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden everyone was like, "It's fake. The virus isn't real. We're gonna do whatever we want," and just everyone stopped following the rules altogether. It was like, what happened there? Like, at what
Mm.
point did
It's
everyone just
that-
say, like, "F it, let's just go wild"?
Oh, weird.
Yeah. I think that was like a huge political thing, which was, I
Wasn't
mean,
that
that,
more in the States?
yeah, and
I
I
don't know.
think,
It's kind of here too. Like I
But
would
yeah,
say,
it was a weird political thing.
Alberta's a little
Mhm.
bit guilty of it too. I would say.
Oh yeah.
100%. I live downtown, and I accidentally ran into the anti-vax protest one time, and they were like stepping
no.
on me. They were like coughing in my face on
Jeez.
purpose because I was
What?
wearing a mask, and they were like, "Who are you? We don't even know who you are." I'm like, even if I had my mask off, you would not
What?
know who I am.
They're coughing on you? That is
They were like stepping
That's
on me
illegal,
and
number
coughing on
one.
me. I know. Like they
what
were getting
what
red in
is
my.
that is just horrible. Like that proves nothing. That helps nothing towards their cause or anything. That just
I know, and they were like,
it's
"Oh, you're
crazy
ruining
people.
our freedom," and I'm like, "Well, it's my freedom to wear a mask. You're the one being like." I just stood there and like wore my mask, and then slowly people were like starting to come up to me and like talking, and then like yelling, and it just got into this thing, and they were like I felt pretty safe
Ridiculous.
because there was like a row of police officers behind me, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am not that scared, but you are kind of still scary. Don't follow me home, okay? Bye.
It's just people are I don't know. The crazies have gotten more crazier, during
Oh
all
yeah.
this.
They went into like the deep web. They had all this time by themselves, went online, found these conspiracies, and that's what they did with their time. So,
Yeah, I've noticed that people on either side of this political spectrum are just getting more kind of amped up and aggressive. It's just, I don't know,
100%.
kind of bums me out, bro.
Have you gotten more aggressive? Come on, Jesse.
Hmm?
Have you gotten more aggressive with anything?
This, I guess I got more, like, sometimes a bit more embittered, but whatever. There's nothing
I've
I can do about it.
stopped altogether arguing with people online. Like I kind of just like got like I don't know. I used to be like I consider myself like a fairly left-leaning person, and I used to be like one of those people who would just like look at a news story, see comments, and then just like start going at people. Like not like in a mean way, but like trying to be like, hey, here's why you're wrong. And I'm trying to say this in a way where it doesn't make me sound like I'm full of myself because I'm not trying to be like a high horse type person, but just more like sometimes I feel like people just don't know what they're talking about, or they don't have the perspective necessary to fully understand certain things. But then I got to a point where I was like, man, like people just already have these opinions, and I feel like for the same reason that they could not convince me of their stuff, I don't think I can convince them of mine. So I kind of just was like, this is like a use of my time.
Yeah. I'm actually 100% with you on that one, James.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped doing that as well. And actually there's this theory, and I can't remember what it's called, but one of you might know what it's called, but it's like when you know very little about something and you start learning about it, you think you know so much just by learning that little bit. But the more you learn, the more you know you don't know about it. And so
That's what
you're
Socrates said.
Yeah.
what is it called?
Socrates, the philosopher, said that
I
the
know
wise
nothing.
man knows he knows nothing. That's
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
the same thing. Like the more you learn about stuff, the more you realize that there is to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically.
everyone's just getting so set in their views. There's just no more room for discussion anymore. I mean, not everyone, but it's just these. You just run into them. Just hard to try to just have a meaningful discussion with certain types of people. But
Well, I'm just
whatever.
tired of the conspiracy nonsense. Like I don't want to hear any of this like liberal propaganda and stuff like that. Like it's just that's the stuff I have no interest in debating on because it's just like it's coming from some like extremely biased and angry forum somewhere in the internet where they all hate minorities and stuff like that. So I'm like, it's not worth my time.
It's like people create an image or like a reason to explain certain things. Like they blame a specific entity, whether it's the left or the right.
Well,
But
it's like scapegoating,
that's a
right?
very it's a very tunnel vision approach to something that's probably more complicated. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel more powerless too. Like it's not like I myself have any meaningful things to really contribute to these kind of conversations. But I don't want to start pushing my ideas on others too much. But Where was I going? Right, but James, I was gonna ask you, like, asked Brittany elaborated, like, what were your original plans before it kind of got all crazy? How much did your life change because of it? Or unless you
Actually,
want to move on.
not really, to be honest. I mean, I was still doing school. I think I did less courses in the last year because um I was planning to, for one, I was kind of like, hey, if everything's going online, maybe I'll just like take one course in the fall just to be like to
Yeah.
see if, because I'm like a learning disability type person. Like I have like really severe ADHD, so I kind of like have to sometimes adapt to certain things. So I was kind of just like, you know what? I think like a lot of people are probably going to take a year off anyways because of this. So I don't think it would be too much of a crime if I just took it a little bit easy. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. Just I took a few less classes the last 2 semesters.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, their pandemic wasn't happening, I probably wouldn't have done that.
Like, I know for myself, I was trying to, like, the podcast was kind of starting at the time before, a little bit before it all got crazy. Like, I was trying to reach out to smaller businesses and start to do like interviews, just like reach out to the local Edmonton scene, just trying to grow the platform in that way, just make it very locally based, interview more like local talent. It's a very interview focused kind of podcast, but
I do
yeah,
remember you getting a hold of me like when it started, but I was just like, I was A, really swamped with school, and then B, I was just like, had a bunch of personal things I was dealing with. Like nothing super bad. I just had like a lot of stuff I was trying to clean up. So
yeah. Who knows? Maybe we can kind of get back into doing that.
yeah,
Just trying to reach out to some local businesses, just get them to talk about their history, their business, their products. I don't know.
I bet
That'd
they
be
would
pretty
love
cool.
that, especially with like a lot of places being closed or not probably getting as much business in the last year because of the pandemic. I bet they'd
Yeah.
probably love the opportunity to reach a wider audience,
Yeah.
etc., etc.
I only went to like three businesses in like near McEwen. I went to the Saigon, or was that Faux Shop across the street from Building 11. I went
Mm.
to the nearest bubble tea place in Oliver Square, and I went to that Burger Priest in around Savon.
Oh, they're
Just
great. They have good burgers.
that was the extent of my efforts before like I realized how pointless it was. Like they were closing lobbies down. The owners weren't even around. It's just hard to talk to anyone. But
I actually might have one for you. I work part time at a record store in the West End. I unfortunately, like I said, I haven't been there in a couple months just because of my injuries. But I feel like they would probably jump on the opportunity
oh
to be on this. They're very
yeah,
like, yeah, they're very community based, or it feels like, anyways. I find because it's in a really weird location. Like the store
yeah,
is in like literally like a residential neighborhood randomly. So
yeah.
and like a lot of it's a really cool place where like a lot of like when people come in there, you get to know them.
Yeah. That
So
would
I
be
feel
very
like
fun.
this would
Yeah,
be perfect for that kind of a business.
yeah.
So
The
next
shops
time I'm
are
actually
amazing.
there, I'll mention it to them.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'd be down towards trying to figure that out sometime in the future. But for now, we'll
Yeah,
just keep.
those shops are honestly my favorite, like the little mom and pop shops, and they make it feel so welcoming and warm and like they build a kind of a community if they do a good job, I think. And but yeah, I felt like the pandemic kind of made it so people kind of retreated into themselves. So trying to reach out to people at that time, especially at the beginning, was just like, it was very stressful and like everyone kind of knew it was empty promises or we weren't really sure what was going to happen, so it was kind of like, well, we can't really make plans. And then I think everyone immediately kind of became like went into themselves and kind of did whatever you do when you're stressed out, I guess.
Yeah. Because like also like smaller
Cry
business
and curl up in a
operators
ball.
just oh
Sorry, I was
what?
just making a joke. Ignore me.
It's okay. But yeah, smaller like business owners tend to be very passionate about their whole shtick, their whole thing.
They feel more
Mhm.
human. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
walk into like, I don't know. I'm gonna compare record stores again. Like you walk into like Sunrise Records, and I mean they have like big stock and stuff. So I'm not really trying to insult them or anything, but it doesn't feel as personable as if you walk into a smaller record store. You know what I mean? Like you don't really feel like you're gonna go there and have like someone talk to you about music. Because like one thing I find that is really cool with the store I work at, I'm gonna plug it quickly. Record Collectors Paradise.
Yeah.
Um,
All
the
right.
people that work there like really like talking about music. I find that we get very often into discussions about music with customers, and plus like one of the guys that works there is like really knowledgeable on like sound systems. So I find like he's very personable when people come in like looking to buy turntables, sound systems and stuff. Like he spends a lot of time like really chatting with them and figuring out exactly what it works for them. Whereas I find like if you go to a bigger store, you're probably like a chain store, you're probably not going to get that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because like you just get like a jaded employee if the company's too big, like Walmart. It's just
Well, I don't want to say they're jaded. Like I said, I'm trying to say this in a way where I'm not like saying anything mean about anybody, but I feel like
Walmart.
it's not really going to be as personable because the thing is too with a smaller store, you know,
Yeah.
you can kind of set your own rules. So I think people are allowed to be a little more off script when they're working there. Whereas like if you're working at a big store with like a head office and stuff, you have to follow like a very strict set of rules. So you can't really sit at the front and like chat with a bunch of people.
Yeah. There's
And I don't
definitely
know.
that
I like it
personal
though.
element for like
Like
smaller.
to just like talk. I mean, I'm a very talkative person, so when somebody gets
Yeah,
on the
that's
same
great,
page
man.
with me about something, I'm like, yeah, let's chat for an hour about it.
I'm always down to make more episodes.
Hmm. So those are your plans, like kind of moving past the pandemic then, Jesse, is talking to more small businesses again, getting them on board.
Yeah, I definitely still want to try to grow like some sort of brand and platform. It'll look good on
Cool.
my portfolio, especially as because I'm a marketing major, and I just want
Oh,
to have something to show. Just, I mean, I kind of do now, but I want more
Or I
of it.
cut out there. What did you say your major was?
I'm marketing.
Oh, cool. What's your minor? I'm just curious.
I got nothing, bruh. Just marketing.
Oh,
good thing.
Trying to supplement with all this other stuff, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I'm a brand ambassador for this app called Be Green, and it's we trying like my position is trying to reach out to local green businesses that do kind of more sustainable practices, and then we put them on this app for free, I think. But we basically so we give them free advertisement, and we try and bring in the customers as well. And then what it would do for the customers if they sign on is get discounts at these businesses. But I like to again stick with kind of the mom and pop shops and people who are those are usually the people who are doing more work to be sustainable on the level that we're looking for. So if I hear of any businesses that also want to be on podcasts and want to advertise themselves, I will direct them to you.
Yeah, it's like it's great if I could just get some sort of platform for people to voice themselves on, just get that snowballing that way. But who knows? I mean, I definitely appreciate that too, yeah. And maybe I could like help you kind of start getting your own podcast growing somehow. So okay, so if things were immediately back to normal right now, like what are the first few things you do? Everything's up and running. Everyone, no face masks. Life has moved on. Society's moved forward. What do you want to do?
I hate to say
I
it,
wanna
but I'm just boring, but I probably wouldn't immediately do anything.
Okay. All right.
you'd go to a physiotherapist and get your tetanus or tinnitus looked at.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually am already seeing a physiotherapist, thank God. So
Okay. All right.
I will be going straight toward the dance floor on the first night I possibly can, getting probably drunk out of my mind, but dancing my face off. Actually, I don't even need to be drunk. I just want to dance. I just want to dance with people, grind on people, just live my
why?
life.
This is a family podcast.
It's
Brittany's a
okay.
free
I'm just
spirit.
kidding.
I'm a free spirit, okay? I want to just dance.
You just want to go out clubbing. All right. Sweet. I
Yeah.
think I'd be much like James here. I think I'd still be sticking around at home just working on projects. And just it would take me a while to kind of go back to the regular routine, honestly.
Well, what would be the first big night out, like with your friends? What would you do with them? Like you plan
I'd do
something.
a lot of things alone, probably. I'd go sit in cafes with my laptop. I'd go to the theaters alone. I just go
I'm all
to
for cafes alone.
I'm just a boring person. I definitely go to more places to eat out with my girlfriend, but
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I'd man, this is actually kind of depressing to think about. I don't know. I don't think I would that hugely benefit from if things just immediately went back right now. Or in your case, you actually have things to do, but